but you are not married, but you are single. Where is the ring on your finger?
If your husband or boyfriend disappointed you on Valentine's Day, it's your fault.
I think a lot of men and women are angry at each other. And I think there's almost this war that is brewing within society.
I don't understand how it's 2026 and men are still acting like they don't need to put any effort into their appearance to attract them.
I heard someone on this app say men will wait until they are undesirable to settle down, and that is so true.
What happens when an entire generation of men suddenly stops dreaming about marriage and settling down? Why are so many unmarried women in 2026 struggling to find men who even want serious commitment anymore? And what caused millions of men to quietly disconnect from the traditional relationship path completely? Stay with us till the end of this video, because this shift is exposing one of the biggest dating changes of modern times.
You can't tell me there's not a direct correlation between girls who spent their childhood with their nose in a book and unmarried women in the year 2026. The more dates I go on, the more I realize that the men I idolized as a child don't exist. I spent my whole childhood reading novels about men who not only were protective and kind-hearted good men, but who put the interests of their female counterparts first, who saw them as friends before they saw them as romantic interests, who not only listened to their opinions and validated their feelings, but wanted to make them feel secure and loved. And the older I get, the more I realize I would rather be single and continue to think men are good than to settle for a man who makes me realize every day that men are not good.
For decades, men were expected to build their entire lives around relationships, marriage, and family. But in 2026, millions of men are starting to question whether settling down still feels worth the emotional, financial, and mental pressure attached to it.
There is a very strange argument that comes from men online whenever they want to bring a woman down. But you are not married, but you are single. Where is the ring on your finger? It's like they imagine that you are some kind of an apple in a supermarket that no one wants to buy. And I find this so strange that they project their own experience, negative experience, on women online. But this is not how it works. Maybe once in a while you should listen to women's perspective. For example, me. I've been married, and that was quite a while ago, but I left my ex-husband. And since then, I've got 4 official proposals. And by the way, I'm not opposed to marriage. I'm not married because I'm picky, I'm demanding, I know what I want, and also I know what it's like to be with a man who is not that great, and also I know what it's like to be alone with a person who is great. You are single because no one wants you. No one wants an unhappy person who leaves nasty comments online, who judges women for their decisions. No one wants this man. No one wants a relationship with you. They just want to sleep with you. Yes, true. You're jealous? There are lots of people who want to sleep with me. And that says more about men, not about me. We are single for different reasons. We don't live in the same reality, bro.
What shocks many unmarried women the most is that these men aren't lonely or desperate. They're calm, focused, and surprisingly comfortable alone. Instead of chasing marriage, many modern men are prioritizing peace, money, freedom, fitness, hobbies, and self-improvement.
First time in history, women aren't marrying men for a paycheck or a house. They're actually looking at character. And it's why we're all single. Turns out, when you start filtering for emotional intelligence and maturity, the dating pool becomes more of a puddle. Back in the day, a man's job description was simple. 1, literally don't die. 2, own a suit and a lawnmower, and boom, husband of the year. And now women want communication and self-awareness, and suddenly the eligible male population dropped to about 6 guys. Women finally said, hey, we'll handle our own money and our careers. Now show us who you actually are. And men everywhere collectively panic. Wait, you mean I actually have to have a personality and be vulnerable? That shit's fucking terrifying. So the moment character development entered the chat, half your roster just simply evaporated. So yeah, have a great 2026. Good luck out there. You're definitely gonna need it because it's a frickin' jungle.
A lot of average men became emotionally exhausted with modern dating culture. Endless expectations, mixed signals, financial pressure, fear of divorce, and feeling constantly replaceable pushed many guys to quietly disconnect from long-term commitment entirely.
I heard someone on this app say men will wait until they are undesirable to settle down, and that is so true. There was a guy that I dated years ago who I was actually more interested, I think, in him than he was in me. And he wanted to be a player. He wanted to do this and that, and he did not appreciate me. And I was like, okay, bye, cool, whatever. Speed up to current. He wants to circle back, and he's like 45 now. And I'm just like, I mean, he doesn't look the worst, but yeah, receding hairline, didn't keep himself in shape. I don't know why. He could work out. He does. It's not like beside the point. And I'm like, I refuse. No, you're not going to just settle with me. He wants someone to settle with. He's now saying completely opposite. He's like, oh, I'm really interested in settling down and I'm interested in this. And like, no. You're just saying that now that you're 45, realizing your options have dwindled. And now you're circling back with all the people that you can remember their numbers and be like, oh, remember? No, it's not going to be me.
And once men experience life without relationship stress, many become protective of that freedom. No emotional chaos. No constant pressure to perform. No exhausting validation games. Just routine, stability, and control over their own lives.
It's important for women to rotationally date, going on dates with several men.
One is more than enough, it's too much, really. Like, one is make me pull the hair one by one, like tweezers, How can I speak to like 5? If I speak to 5 in 1 hour, all of them is blocked. How are you blocked? Where are you blocked? Hi, block. He's breathing, block. He's alive, block. Everyone is gone. Finish, because I can't do this trauma. This is trauma for me. I'm not looking for someone I love. I'm looking for someone I hate less. Like this. Because, also I'm lover girl. But this aside. All I'm saying is that the male species, it has to be done in doses, and one is bad, too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I prefer animals to humans. Plonk me in a farm. Amazing. I'll live like a princess. Or a forest. Yum. I'll build a hut, have deep intellectual conversations with gorillas and giraffes. It'd be brilliant. I'm sure of it. But talking to more than one male species at the same time, good luck.
Social media accelerated this shift massively. Men constantly saw stories about failed marriages, toxic breakups, cheating scandals, and one-sided emotional effort. Over time, many average guys stopped viewing marriage as a guaranteed path to happiness.
Women aren't better at housework. Just so you know, women aren't more organized by nature. They're not born with a built-in calendar for non-uniform days. They don't emerge from the womb already knowing personality trait. Men aren't bad at domestic life. You'll see that in some men. But a lot of men have just never been made responsible for it. They've been allowed to float. They get to live in the house without carrying the house. And meanwhile, women don't manage families, they absorb them. They become the human reminder system, the walking archive, the emergency contact for literally everything. And it's not because they're better, it's because someone has to be. So the next time you hear someone saying, they're just better at this stuff, translate it correctly. She's not better, she's just the only one who wasn't allowed to forget. Big hug.
What frustrates some women the most is that these men no longer seem eager to settle down. They are emotionally detached, financially cautious, and comfortable staying single much longer than previous generations ever were.
The reason there's a male loneliness epidemic in the world is not because of women. It's all because of men, and specifically men that are trying to teach other men about women. Whether you're talking about dating or jobs or social interactions or just family, men have not adjusted to a society where women have a choice. For most of human history, women did not have a choice. Now, thanks to the hard work of women, they do. They don't need a man for money or a home or a job or just survival. Because of that, they aren't looking for a partner because they have to anymore. If they are looking at all, it's because they want to be in a relationship. They want to have a partner. They have the ability to be picky now in a way that they couldn't before. The reality now is that men need to put in work in a way that they didn't have to in the past. They need to convince women to choose them over what they are capable of doing on their own now. There has to be more to a relationship than providing money and a home and a family, because women have the capability of doing that now on their own. And the men that are teaching this younger generation cannot wrap their heads around the fact that this society has changed. Instead, they are blaming all of the problems on women, when the real problem is men and our inability to adjust to a changing world where women now get to choose.
Many men are also realizing that modern bachelor life feels more peaceful than unstable relationships. Instead of centering romance around every life decision, they are focusing on discipline, career growth, mental peace, and financial independence.
Men are laborers, not leaders. Leadership requires foresight, executive function, and accountability for outcomes. Men are operating in execution roles, following directions, completing assigned tasks, not being responsible for the final outcome of anything beyond themselves. So explain to me how someone who is not leading anywhere else in their life suddenly expects to come home and be the head of the household. A home requires constant foresight. We're planning, anticipating needs, coordinating schedules, regulating emotions, managing logistics. Women have been carrying that load for centuries. That is leadership. So no, being louder, stronger, more entitled doesn't make you a leader. If you're not carrying the responsibility, you don't get the authority, okay? Leadership isn't a title that you claim. It's a burden that you carry. And if you're not carrying it, you don't get to call yourself the head.
I don't understand how it's 2026 and men are still acting like they don't need to put any effort into their appearance to attract a woman. I'm so sorry, but you guys are not the sole breadwinners anymore. Women these days are making their own money and we're still looking good while doing it. So when I'm looking for a guy to date, whether or not he takes proper care of himself is definitely something I consider, because why should I be working a full-time job and putting effort into how I present myself and then date a man who looks like a slob? So please, practice good personal hygiene, wear clothes that actually fit you, put effort into styling your hair. And if you don't know where to start with any of that stuff, I recommend Based Body Works because they have literally everything you need. So if you want it to be easy, just go on Based and scroll through what they have, and I promise you will find what you need. And if you don't care, that's fine. Just don't be surprised when you can't get a girl.
The biggest twist is that this isn't some loud anti-marriage rebellion. Men aren't protesting in public. They are simply participating less. Less dating. Less emotional investment, less commitment, and that quiet withdrawal is changing the relationship market completely.
In China, there's a word for women who are not married by their late 20s. It's 剩女, and it means leftover woman. Basically, if a woman gets too old, a man won't want her. When I first heard that, I was horrified. Let's be honest, that pressure exists everywhere in the world. China just has a more direct name for it. What's interesting is the young women in China are not accepting this idea anymore. A lot of women are educated, they make their own money, they have their own opinions. So the phrase still exists, the pressure still exists. But I think Chinese women are really starting to change the narrative. Now being unmarried into your 20s, 30s, it doesn't mean you're left over. It means you're refusing to settle.
Men be waiting until their hairline is literally behind their ears and till they have to use gas station pills in order to get it up to try to settle down. Brother, your time is officially up. Only girls that's getting with you is the ones that want you to pay them for it. That's it. They wanted you when you was young and hot. That time is over with. Because you thought it was okay to be a hoe that entire time and never actually built a relationship, nobody wants to accept you for the way you are. What they will accept, though, is Cash App, Apple Pay, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Google Pay, Tap to Pay, cash, credit, or debit. But not you, brother.
Now many unmarried women are noticing something uncomfortable. The same men once desperate for relationships are no longer chasing commitment at all. The pressure dynamic has shifted, and modern dating feels colder because of it.
I think a lot of men and women are angry at each other. And I think there's almost this war that is brewing within society because women feel like men can't meet their expectations, that they're setting these expectations and men are just failing to meet them. And on the flip side, men are feeling discouraged and irritated and angry and rejected because they feel like these standards are set too high. How do we fix that? What's the solution to the problem? The solution to the problem is the word of God. Because without a relationship, without marriage, the Lord calls us higher. As women, the Lord teaches us how to speak life into a man. Am I gentle in my speech? Am I also being truthful and standing firm on the foundation that I've built on Christ? How to speak life into the relationships around us. How to first become that woman of God who is strong, who meets those standards before putting those expectations on a man. And in the reverse, men, how can I take a step higher? What are the standards in my life that I want to meet? If I have certain addictions, if I have certain pains, if I have certain troubles, those can be broken by the blood and in the name of Yeshua. That requires a discipline to walk that out. And it requires a discipline to first say, hey, I need help and I want to start. Lord, help me get better.
And honestly, this may be one of the biggest social shifts of modern culture. Because when millions of men stop seeing marriage as the ultimate life goal, the entire structure of modern relationships starts changing overnight.
If your husband or boyfriend disappointed you on Valentine's Day, it's your fault. Because in 2026, we don't need men. In 2026, when you put up with bad behavior from men, we see it as you choosing that you are allowing yourself to be treated poorly, because in 2026, you don't need them. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a pass because generationally, we were conditioned by society to believe that we needed men. And in fact, our mothers, grandmothers, and certainly our great-grandmothers actually needed men to survive. They couldn't open bank accounts or get homes without a man, but you don't. You don't. You don't need a man for anything. So why are you putting up with bad behavior? In 2026, when you put up with bad behavior from a man, it just shows that it's your fault, that it's a reflection of your low self-worth and you have no self-respect. Dump him. If you are continually disappointed and he hurts you and he brings terrible things into your life, dump him. You don't need him, dump him. You don't need him, dump him.
Marrying rich in 2026 is not the goal in dating anymore, and let me tell you why.
He will never emotionally fulfill you, ever.
While it's all well and good to want to marry a man who's got 6 cars, 20 houses, can take you for dinner 7 nights a week, never have to worry about money, is beautiful, it doesn't actually fill your cup emotionally. How does he treat you when you're sick? How does he treat you when he comes home and the house is a mess? How does he treat you when other women are around who are attractive? How does he treat you when you have arguments? How does he treat you when you're not giving him what he wants? How does he treat you when you've got your cycle and you're going through your waves of emotions, and some days you're really grounded and the next day you're all over the place? If you don't want to be part of the divorce statistics, actually make sure that you're meeting a man who you can build a strong foundation with, meaning that he's generous, not only with his money, but with his time, with his effort. Having the hard conversations in the beginning of the relationship, the first 6 months, the first year, the first 3 years, making sure that you're on the same path is so much more important than making sure that he can buy you a Louis Vuitton bag every quarter.
So here's the real question. Are men refusing to settle down because modern dating failed them? Or because they finally realized peace feels safer than commitment in 2026?
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.